We all desire a happy life. It's a universal longing, something deep within every heart. But what does it truly mean to live a happy life? Is it wealth? Fame? Success? Many chase these things, believing they are the key to happiness, yet often find themselves unfulfilled once they achieve them. The world presents us with countless ideas of what happiness should be, yet the more we pursue them, the emptier we can feel. From a Christian perspective, happiness is not rooted in temporary achievements or material possessions. Instead, it's grounded in something far deeper, something eternal. The Bible speaks of a joy that goes beyond circumstances, a joy that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of life. This joy, this true happiness, comes from a relationship with God. Psalm 16 verse 11 tells us, "In your presence there is fullness of joy, at your right hand are pleasures forevermore." This verse reveals that our deepest happiness comes from being in the presence of God, knowing Him, and being loved by Him. It's a happiness that isn't dependent on what's happening around us, but on the unchanging love of God. As we begin this journey of discovering how to live a truly happy life, we need to shift our focus from external things to the internal, from the temporary to the eternal. True happiness starts not with what we have, but with who we are in Christ. It's about finding our identity, our purpose, and our joy in Him. This might seem like a simple truth, but it is one that transforms everything. When we understand that our happiness is tied to our Creator, we begin to see life differently. Our priorities shift, and we start seeking things that truly matter. So, let's explore how this journey unfolds, step by step, as we discover the path to true, lasting happiness. As we continue this journey toward a happy life, one of the key elements we must embrace is gratitude. In a world constantly telling us to want more, to achieve more, it's easy to overlook the blessings right in front of us. We're often so focused on what we lack that we miss what we already have. But gratitude shifts our perspective and helps us recognize the beauty and goodness that surround us, even in the smallest things. From a Christian perspective, gratitude is more than just saying thank you for what we've received. It's a posture of the heart. It's a way of seeing life through the lens of God's grace. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 18 reminds us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. This doesn't mean we have to be happy about everything that happens, but it does mean we can find reasons to be grateful even in difficult times. When we cultivate a heart of gratitude, we begin to notice how God is working in every area of our lives. The daily moments, whether small or significant, become opportunities to acknowledge His presence and provision. This mindset leads to deeper contentment. We're no longer chasing after the next thing to satisfy us because we're learning to appreciate the gifts already given. Gratitude also strengthens our relationship with God. It keeps our hearts open to His love and reminds us that He is our provider. When we recognize that every good thing comes from Him, we feel more connected and more at peace. This connection brings a sense of security that money, status, or possessions can never provide. But gratitude isn't just about feeling thankful, it's also about expressing it. When we take time to thank God for His blessings, both big and small, it deepens our trust in Him. We begin to see life not through the lens of lack, but through the eyes of abundance, recognizing that God is always with us, providing exactly what we need. Another key to living a happy life is found in an unexpected place, serving others. We often think happiness comes from satisfying our own desires, yet the Bible teaches that true joy is discovered when we turn our attention outward. In Philippians 2 verses 3 to 4, we're reminded to do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. This counterintuitive principle, putting others before ourselves, leads to a deeper, more lasting happiness. Why is that? When we serve others, we step outside of our own struggles and concerns. We start to see the world through a broader lens, one that includes the needs and joys of those around us. This shift in perspective lightens the weight of our own worries and brings a sense of purpose that can't be found in self-centered living. Jesus himself set the example of serving others, even washing his disciples' feet to show that greatness in God's kingdom comes through humility and service. Serving isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, everyday moments where we can make someone's life a little brighter. A kind word, a helping hand, or just being present for someone who needs encouragement. These acts may seem small, but they carry great power. Each time we serve, we reflect the love of Christ, and in doing so, we experience a joy that comes from knowing we are fulfilling God's calling to love others. Additionally, serving helps us break free from the cycle of comparison and envy. Instead of constantly looking at what others have and what we might lack, we focus on how we can bless others. This not only brings joy to their lives, but also fills our hearts with contentment. In God's design, serving others is a way to experience His love more fully, and in turn, we find our own happiness growing as we make a positive impact on the lives of those around us. Ultimately, happiness rooted in serving others reflects the very heart of Christ. As we give, we receive. As we bless others, we are blessed. And in this mutual exchange of love, we find a deeper joy than we ever thought possible. One of the most challenging aspects of pursuing happiness is learning to trust God, especially during difficult seasons of life. We all go through moments of uncertainty, pain, or loss, and it's in these moments that happiness can seem far out of reach. However, the Bible teaches us that true joy isn't dependent on our circumstances, but on our faith in God's goodness and sovereignty. Proverbs 3 verses 5-6 reminds us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your paths." Trusting God means letting go of the need to control everything and surrendering our plans to Him, knowing that He is working all things together for our good. Romans 8 verse 28. When we trust God, even in the midst of trials, we experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. Philippians 4 verse 7. This peace leads to a deep, abiding joy that remains steady, regardless of what life throws our way. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect, but about believing that God is in control and that He is faithful to see us through. In times of hardship, we may not always see or understand God's plan, but trust allows us to hold on to hope. Instead of letting fear or anxiety steal our joy, we can rest in the assurance that God knows what we need, and His timing is perfect. This kind of trust brings a sense of stability to our lives, helping us remain anchored in hope, even when the storms of life rage around us. Trusting God in every season also builds our relationship with Him. It deepens our faith, drawing us closer as we learn to rely on His strength rather than our own. And as we grow in trust, we begin to see more clearly how His plans for us are always better than anything we could have imagined. This trust doesn't remove life's challenges, but it transforms how we navigate them, allowing us to find joy even in the hardest moments. As we conclude this journey toward a happy life, we must acknowledge the ultimate source of true happiness, the peace that comes from a relationship with Christ. While the world offers fleeting pleasures and temporary relief, the peace that Jesus gives is lasting and unshakable. In John 14 verse 27, Jesus says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." This peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of Christ in every moment of our lives. It's a peace that guards our hearts and minds, no matter what we face. When we live in the peace of Christ, we are freed from the constant striving and anxiety that the world often promotes. Instead of chasing after happiness in all the wrong places, we find it resting in God's promises and in the assurance of His love for us. Living in Christ's peace also brings clarity and direction to our lives. When we are at peace with God, we are better able to hear His voice and follow His guidance. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy, but it means that we will always have the strength and courage to face whatever comes our way. The peace of Christ gives us the confidence to walk in faith, knowing that no matter what happens, we are held securely in His hands. In the end, a truly happy life is one that is rooted in this peace. It's not about having everything we want, but about trusting that God is enough. It's about experiencing the fullness of joy that comes from knowing we are loved, redeemed, and secure in Christ. As we live in this peace, we can reflect God's love to those around us, sharing the happiness we've found in Him. So, as we seek happiness, let us remember that it's not found in what the world offers, but in the gift of peace through Jesus. In Him, we find everything we need for a joyful, fulfilling, and truly happy life.